Hello everyone, my name is Witch Crystal and today we are going to make our very own crystal balls because this is Imagine Your Story, and in our fantasy land there are witches and wizards and princesses and princes and kings and queens, so you can be anything that you can imagine. Today we're going to make a very magical craft. It's going to look a little something like this. But first, I need you to say the magic words. Can you say abracadabra? Wow, you did it! All of our supplies have magically appeared. If you were able to pick up one of our craft kits from any of the Charlotte County libraries, you should have one crystal globe. It comes in 2 pieces, 4 small cups, 2 different colors of paint, a pack of Model Magic clay, and your very own shiny magical glitter. Some extra supplies you might want to pick up around your home are some newspapers or something that you can use to cover your work area so that you don't make as much of a mess. If you don't have newspapers, you can use all of those flyers and things that come in the mail. You also may want some paper towels to help clean up any messes or spills that you might have. And I found a toothpick and a paintbrush so that we can do some extra small details for our designs. So we are going to start our magic crystal ball. First, we're going to take both of the plastic half circles of our crystal ball. What we're going to do is going to take our paints and our glitter, and you might need some scissors to open up your glitter, but there's a small little mark on your glitter where you can just rip that open. Be careful not to make too much of a mess with the glitter. So we're gonna open up our glitter, and I liked pouring my glitter into each container first. So I'm gonna pour half of it on this side and half of it on the other side. It makes it nice and shiny. Then we're gonna open up our paint. I have black paint and purple paint, but everybody got different colors, and I would love to see your creations when these are all done, to see all the different color combinations that you were able to create. So I'm gonna take off all the little coverings on there. So what we're gonna do is just put the paint in there in different areas so you can kind of splatter it and mix it around in different spots. That is going to give us a nice marbled effect, just like the other crystal balls that I showed you at the beginning of the video. So on this side, and each side is going to look a little bit different. We're going to swirl that all around. So don't worry if it's not exactly half and half on each side. That's okay. Just going to squeeze that in there. So I'm going to take the other color I have, which is black, and slowly pour that over the top of the other colors. If it's not pouring, you might have to use a paintbrush or something else to help you push the paint out of the containers. We're going to just use the paintbrush here. Just kind of mix that in. Kind of looks like a mess at first, but that's okay. All right. You don't have to use all of the paint if you don't want to. You'll have plenty of paint to make your crystal ball. So I'm going to set this aside here. Now, what we're gonna do, and this does take a little bit of patience, so you can just move that around. We're gonna slowly just mix that all around inside. That's why we need to have some newspaper down so we don't make too much of a mess. We're gonna just let gravity do its work here and let the paint move all around our crystal ball. And that's all gonna mix together, but you'll see that it will have swirls on the outside. If it's not moving around as well as you'd like, you can use a paintbrush, or if you need to, you can always use your fingers too, but that'll make even more of a mess. We're gonna just make sure that the whole entire plastic is covered. Look at how cool that looks already. Oops. We're just gonna make a mess here. That's all right. So you're gonna mix all that paint around. You're gonna make sure that the whole entire plastic piece is covered. You don't want to completely mix the two colors together though, otherwise it will make just a mess. I'm gonna get a paper towel to wipe my hands. That's why we have some paper towels standing by. Now, what we're gonna do is take 2 of the cups, so take 2 from there, and we are going to turn this over on top of those cups. Look at how pretty that is. It's so magical. That way, any of the extra paint will drip out and it will help to dry your crystal ball inside. So let's move on to the next one. So we're gonna mix that around. Look at all that shiny glitter. Sometimes that glitter just sticks right to that edge and it looks like you are making a geode, which is like a natural rock, natural crystal. And I'm sure we have plenty of books in the library about geodes. So we're gonna pull it all the way to the edge. Mix that around. It's so shiny. Now, we have it all the way covered. All right. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna take the last 2 cups, put them apart like that, and just flip over our other side of the crystal ball. They look so beautiful. Okay, we're gonna let our crystal balls drip out any extra paint, and we're gonna move on to the next step, which is going to be making our base. For this, you'll need your Model Magic clay pack. We are going to make a base that looks similar to this. I used some leftover paint from my crystal ball, so you can always hang on to that instead of throwing that away. But if you don't want to paint it, that's okay too. This is an example of it not painted, but it still works just as well. We need to create a base, that way our crystal ball doesn't roll away. So we're going to open up our Model Magic pack. You can just pull it from both ends, or you can ask an adult to help you, or even grab a pair of scissors. And then we are going to use all the clay that's inside. There's some stuck to the package. You can just stick it all together and grab that all. All right, so we have our clay pack. We're gonna just roll that up, roll it into a ball in your hands, and then we're gonna flatten it a little bit and create a cylinder shape. Kind of like that. And then our next step is going to be to turn it into a donut. So we're gonna take those 2 edges and have them meet together. But we're gonna make sure that there's a circle in the middle, just like a donut hole. Then you're gonna take your edges and just kind of squeeze those together so that there's no crease. Just get it all nice and smooth as you can. All right, so now we have our donut shape. You can lay this down a little bit and press it down to make sure that it's flat on the bottom, but don't press too hard. You don't want it to stick too much to anything. So make sure that it's not stuck. And then we're gonna do something to the middle part of our circle here. You wanna press down right in the middle, just a little bit. That way, because our crystal ball is a circle, it'll have a nice little indented area to fit right inside of. That way, again, it doesn't roll away. You want to make sure to lift it up from your surface, that way it doesn't get stuck while it dries. All right. So just like this one that's completely done, and we can test it out, see? Perfect, our crystal ball doesn't roll away. So now we're going to decorate it. I found a toothpick. If you don't have a toothpick, you can use your fingers, you can use the end of a pencil or a paintbrush, you can even use shells or other things to make little designs on the outside. You don't have to make designs, you don't have to create a pattern on the outside if you don't want to. This one here I left completely plain, and I think that it still looks beautiful on my crystal ball. To show you how I made the designs on the gold one, I used a toothpick, and I'll show you. I just used my toothpick to create simple lines, just like that. Now I have a triangle shape, and I'm gonna repeat this pattern over and over. Just like that, all around. I am going to use some magic to make this go even faster. Perfect, so we have triangle patterns all around our little donut-shaped base. Now what I did is I used my toothpick to make little circles inside all of the triangles. You can use different designs, you can even write your name on there if you want. So I'm gonna repeat this all the way around again. Oops, that one's a little bit different. And there we have our beautiful design on our crystal ball base. This is going to take about 1 day to dry, so you will have to have a little bit of patience with this base. If you would like to paint it, you do have to wait for it to dry completely before you paint over the top. If you put paint over the top, then air can't get to the clay for it to dry. If you lay your clay down and you feel like the bottom of your base isn't drying completely, you could always flip it over while it's drying. Oh, look at all the magic glitter that stuck to my base. Maybe you have some extra glitter that you can stick on there. If it's wet, it will stick right to it. So we are gonna put this aside and move on to another step. This is a base that I made yesterday. So like I said, it took 1 day to dry, so I'll show you how to paint the bottom of your base. All right, so I have some purple paint, and we're just going to spread that around our base here, all along the sides. You don't have to paint the bottom. Sometimes if you paint the bottom and you try to set it down on something, it will just stick. We're going to paint all around inside that donut hole. Beautiful. And I'll set that aside so we can let that dry too. Let's check on our crystal balls. All of the extra paint should have fallen out by now while we were making our donut base. The edges on each one of your crystal balls is going to be a little bit different. You're going to want to make sure that there's no paint on the outside of your base. One of them that has the little dip there on the outside, you want to make sure that there's no paint on that part, just because that's what we need to connect our two pieces together. And if there's too much paint stuck in there, it may not fit properly. This one here has a little bit of paint on the edge, and this is the side that has the little divot on the inside of the base. So it's smooth on the outside, and then it has a little divot there along the edge. That makes the two pieces fit together. So I'm gonna take a paper towel and just wipe along the edge there. That way, there's no problems when we try to fit it back together. You don't want to wipe it too far in, otherwise you'll get a white or clear crease along the inside. So once all of the extra paint has dripped out of your crystal ball sides, you can leave them upside down like this to dry, and that way none of the paint will slide over your edges anymore, because we want to keep those clean. After you let everything dry for about 1 day, you should be able to put everything together. I'm going to show you with this one that I made. You're going to take the two sides and you're going to fit them together, and you're going to try to get that little piece that sticks out at the end to line up. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you try to get them close to the same spot. That way it'll fit into our base. I'll show you. Perfect. You'll hear a little bit of click, and be careful not to get too much pressure on there. You don't want to squeeze it too much because you don't want the plastic on each side to break. Now that they're put together, you're going to make sure that this part that has the parts sticking out of the end are going to fit right inside of the hole that we left in our donut shaped base. You stick that right in there like that. Perfect. Now we have our beautiful crystal ball all finished. Now our crystal balls are complete. You can gaze into your very own crystal ball and imagine your story. I'd love to see all the different color combinations that you've created with your crystal balls. Be sure to send us a picture and show off your magical creations. Thank you for doing this craft with me, and stay magical.